What's up, guys? We're at DeSoto. Gonna do a quick little video about shoes. Check it out. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Dustin. This is Matthew. Today we are going to be talking about shoes. How to pick out a good pair of shoes. I know it's really confusing sometimes. Guys can see shoes that look really great, don't know if they're a good, good pair, whether it's a good investment or not, how much money you should be spending on shoes. So we're gonna break it all down for you in today's video. Talk about is the sole. It's the first place to go to look for, a good construction on a shoe. So what are two things to look for on a sole?
Well, the first thing that I would look for is the material of the sole. If it's a leather sole, that's where you want to go. And when I'm speaking sole, it's the sole on the inside of your shoe that you put your foot on specifically. That you're going to want to have to be the best quality material that you can find. Leather is going to be preferred. Obviously there's different types of leather, different qualities of leather, but as long as you're going with leather that's going to be stitched into the bottom of your shoe, that's the best that you can be looking for.
Awesome, so let's take a look.
Sure.
So here we have a pair of Two Boot New York. It's a pair of boots, pretty classic style. You have the wing tips. Thing to notice on the shoes, see that right there? That's the stitching. That means that this piece of the sole is actually tied to the sole up here. What is that called? The upper?
The upper, yes.
Yeah. So, see the stitching here? It's actually stitched to the upper. What this means is it's actually not fastened with glue, makes it easier to replace, stronger, and more durable.
And a tip to look out for is when you're looking at shoes that are stitched, a lot of times companies will put the look of the stitch on the bottom of the shoe, but they'll still glue it on the inside. So they'll make you appear that you're getting a better quality shoe when in fact you're really not getting what you should be paying for.
So again, we talked about how price doesn't matter as much. So I have a pair of Ted Baker shoes here. They look great.
They do.
Good quality. They're one of my favorite style shoes. Inside has a cool pattern on it. But when you look at the quality, boom, no stitch. That's one of the worst things you can do for a shoe. It's a real dirty sole, so sorry about that. But it's really just glued on. That glue can be susceptible to stress, can be susceptible to heat or cold. It starts to break down over time and ultimately results in a lower quality shoe.
One of the things that we don't think about normally when we think about shoes is actually just how a shoe works when you're actually walking in your shoe or using your shoe. So if you take a look at the bottom of your shoe, you see this black part right here. Followed by this black part, you'll just see the regular wood or whatever it's going to be made of. Sometimes it's rubber, and then you'll have the flat part of the foot here. Why this is here is if you actually take a proper step, which I know sounds like a weird thing to say, but it is important, you go heel, toe. So you would want the heel, which is going to take the most impact, to have some sort of, I would say, some sort of known prevalence, I guess might be the word that I'm looking for, to show that it actually takes care of the fact that you're going to step heel toe. So this is normally going to be rubber, and this is a rather large piece. Sometimes it's just on a certain side of the shoe, sometimes it's a little bit bigger, sometimes it's a little bit smaller, but what you are looking for is the fact that this even exists, because again, when you're taking a step, it goes heel toe, or heel toe, and this is where a lot of the impact is going to be known for. That's again a very small way that you can tell whether or not you're getting a good pair of shoes, is how much they're actually thinking about the actual steps that it takes to make your step comfortable.
How it's actually being used.
Yes.
Yeah. And one thing that's a cool tip is you can actually go to a cobbler, and if you find a pair of shoes you really like and there's not something there, or maybe it's a little bit worn down, you can go there and actually pay them to apply a piece of rubber, or sometimes it's really hard plastic, to put right down there, and that wears over time versus wearing your shoe.
As important as you'll hear people talk about, or Dustin talk about tailoring in future episodes and throughout this this lifestyle that he's promoting is just as important as tailoring is for clothes. Finding a good cobbler for shoes, it's just
for sure.
as equally as important. These are shoes that, when we talk about making investments, they could be resold for $50 and keep going for another 10 years.
For sure. And that resale is a good point. You know, a lot of times people talk about how much should I be spending on the shoes, and that doesn't matter as much. A price is a price. You can buy shoes for $300, and they might not be the best quality. The Ted Bakers I showed earlier, I think those are about $200, maybe $170, and they're not the best constructed shoes. I like the look, I like the style, so it was a choice that I made. I've got a pair of shoes here, these Two Boot New Yorks. So these shoes I actually bought for around $60, but I bought them used. So they're really good quality, really good condition. Part of buying a resale shoe, as long as you can get over the fact that someone else's foot has been in it, is that a good quality shoe is going to stand the test of time. So you can actually buy a shoe that's been used, maybe it's been worn for a couple of years, and it almost looks brand new. And that's a really good thing about good quality shoes.
Absolutely.
So one of the best things you can do for your shoes is invest in cedar shoe trees. So what this does is it actually goes inside your shoe, you know, after you've worn it, and it's good for a few different things. First and most important with that is that you can actually keep the shape of your shoe. So one of the things that happens with your shoes as you walk, the tops crease, and as they crease over time, permanent wrinkles start to go in. So these are a pair of shoes that have an example of, you know, this hasn't been kept up with a shoe tree, so that's my fault. These are personal pair of shoes of mine. So with that shoe tree in there, it actually keeps the shape of the shoe, you know, when you're not wearing it, and actually pushes those creases out. So over time, they don't become as prevalent. The reason that you want to get cedar shoe trees is because the cedar helps absorb moisture as well as keep the odor down. It sucks all that stuff in. It's a natural moisture keeper. And so there are plastic ones available that you can buy for really cheap, but for a little bit more you can get a cedar pair, and they do great wonders for your shoes.
This is a small price to pay for something that's going to last you a lot longer and keep your shoes looking great. Do you not like the angle in which you're putting your beer